Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I'm very happy to have Rene Gannon-O'Gara with me. Hey, Rene.
Hello.
All right, we just talked. We just had an awesome discussion. Wonderful conversation. It is the podcast before this one, and you should absolutely listen to it. Listen to the whole G-damn thing. I love taking the Lord's name in vain for some reason. I went G-damn there. But we were talking about Rene and his film Donut, which was... it had its world premiere at Film Invasion Los Angeles last year, 2023. Won a couple of groovy awards. Won the Grand Jury Award for Best Feature Film Drama. Won one of the actors. Won Best Performer in a Supporting Role Drama for Pavly Serenetsky. Wonderful. Actually, it's funny. Did we not have... We probably didn't have a cast award. But I would have loved for you to get... I kind of annoys me not to have a cast award sometimes. Oh, that's a tangent. All right. Yeah. Fuck the tangents. And we can curse, although you don't curse much like me. I'm much less classy.
I just like because you started the first podcast with cursing right at the top. At this time, you started with G-damn.
I started with G-damn. I know. I said, well, I think because I said donuts fucking great. Or what did I say? Motherfucking like great?
Yeah.
Some, I mean, fuck doesn't have the level of impact it once did.
Yeah.
But I can remember when you didn't hear it all the time.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm dating myself. Listen to the podcast before this. Learn all about Rene and his film Donut. Watch Donut on TVHi. Just go to watchtvhi.com and watch the G-damn film. The G-damn motherfucking wonderful film. And I say all that because now we're not going to talk about Rene or his film. We're going to talk about his taste in film. He's going to answer the 4 questions, which are: name 3 favorite films, name an underrated film, name an overrated film, and name a lesser-known film that people should seek out. And this is where I shut the fuck up, and I just listen to you talk about your favorites.
Okay. All right, so what was the first one is for...
Just 3 favorites.
3 favorites.
And it's I'll interrupt and say it's intentionally worded. It's not like the 3 best films ever. It's just 3 films you love.
Yeah. So I'll go a little bit off recency bias. On Criterion Channel, they had some pre-code movies up there for a while. And there were a few... William Powell and Kay Francis movies, or a couple William Powell and Kay Francis movies that those are the actors that I thought were just incredible. One of them is called One Way Passage, and it's basically on a steamer boat. These 2 people sort of meet and fall in love, and one of them is a arrested murderer who is on his way to be hung at San Quentin, and the other one is the Kay Francis character is on her way to a sanitarium because she's very sick and she's gonna die pretty soon, or it's unclear what her illness is. But basically, they're falling in love and they're not telling each other this, but they're both going to be dead as soon as they land. Basically, is sort of the idea, and then. Yeah, it's hijinks ensue a little bit on the boat, but it's very romantic. It's got some very funny bits, and it's like just the pre-code movies. There's something really remarkably contemporary about a lot of them, which is so interesting because as you get into when the code starts being enforced, all these movies start getting really conservative and locked down, and they feel more old-fashioned now. And when you watch the ones that people were making before, there's something very free and like open and realistic about them.
Pre-MPAA, pre-ratings.
Way pre-ratings.
The USA's cinema community, whatever, sounds like they were more creative and European before the codes.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, there was also like a lot of European filmmakers that were coming, especially Germans that were coming, because this is also, when the Nazis are starting to take over.
Right before all the Jews had to run out of there, and there are a lot of Jews in German cinema back then.
Yes, and also just
and just
artists that
artists who were not going to live long if they stay.
But anyways, this is like 1932 or something. But I just thought it was really incredible. And they had some other movies. There was another movie that those two did together called Jewel Robber, which is also, I'm going to sneak that in as a secret second suggestion because I also thought that was really great. Or Jewel Robbery, it might be called, something like that. And anyways, that one's more comedic but also very, very fun. Okay, so that's a big one for me recently. I think what's another good one? One filmmaker who's really important to me is Fassbinder, Rainer Werner Fassbinder, and I think I like a lot of his movies. The one that sticks to the top of my head as my favorite is Fox and His Friends, where Fassbinder is also acting as the sort of the lead role, but it's a beautiful movie visually. It's shot by who's the cinematographer? Who is it? Muller, or he ended up moving to the States and shooting with Scorsese, I think. But just beautiful cinematography and great performances. And Fassbinder is really like working off of the Douglas Sirk kind of melodrama and bringing it into the 70s. And it's, I don't know, very fun, also sort of romantic and sad and tragic and, in a fun way, I would say. That movie is sort of about this like poor working class person who sort of gets taken up as a sort of a pet by this wealthier man, and he ends up winning the lottery and becoming very rich, and basically these wealthy vultures kind of eat him alive. So it's a bit of a reverse Ripley or something like that. Reverse Tom Ripley. I don't know.
It's always fascinating though. Do you love? I mean, loving vintage cinema and things. Isn't it always fascinating how current the themes are?
Yeah.
Like the idea that like eat the rich or the rich being like, it actually goes back to Rome. It goes back before, like ancient, like it's always all these themes, all these things that we're dealing with today.
Definitely
have always existed.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I think that Fassbinder's movies are often very much about because they're interested in melodrama. They're often very much about relationships, but there's always this underlying sort of anxiety about who people really are. I mean, he's definitely, he's growing up in the post World War II Germany, and it's like, wait, there's all these people that were Nazis. Like they're all right there. I don't know. And you can sort of feel that anxiety in his work in a lot of different ways. I mean, like he has this movie, Ali, Fear Eats the Soul, about an older German woman who has a romantic relationship with a younger Arab man. And it's sort of, it's based on the Douglas Sirk movie about the age, it's sort of like the age difference romance. What is that movie called? All That Heaven Allows, I think, or something like that. Or is that the Haynes
that rings
movie?
A bell.
I might be mixing up the titles, but anyways, you have all these sort of like Germans around, like looking. Just there's a lot of like people staring at them as they're like just trying to enjoy their life, and they're sitting in the restaurant that Hitler used to eat at every day, and it's like I don't know, it's very unsettling. Another good movie. I'm just sneaking in the double recommendations here. Sorry.
Nah, no worries.
Okay. One more. Okay. So I guess the last one I'll say is The Scent of Green Papaya, which is a movie from the early 90s. I think it won the Palme d'Or in 93. But it was a movie that my mom showed me when I was pretty young, maybe younger than 10 or something. And it was sort of probably one of the first art house movies that I saw that made me realize like, oh, this is like, movies could be like this. It's sort of, it takes place in Vietnam, and it's it's mostly, except it was, I think it was all shot in Paris on sets, but so it sort of has this sort of theatrical feeling a little bit, but it's a very quiet movie. Almost nothing happens for a while. It's all vibes, and then like there's a bunch of stuff that happens at the very end. It's a very strangely structured movie, but really, really beautiful. And the filmmaker hasn't made that many films, but he just had a movie called The Taste of Things, which was a beautiful French movie with Juliette Binoche, where she's like cooking. It's like 19th century French kitchen. Just another, you said 3, I said 6 recommendation, but really also a very beautiful movie. But The Scent of Green Papaya was important for me. Very formative. Yeah. So I guess that's
right.
3.
I'm almost tempted to ask you an improv question,
Sure.
real quick one. Do you have a guilty pleasure? Like a favorite that's like a guilty pleasure?
So I the thing
because you're quite highbrow.
I
You know what I mean? I don't mean to call you highbrow. I don't want to label you, but
well, I was thinking that it's funny because your last question is like things that, what was it? Things that,
the last one's lesser known to seek out. Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if
and
maybe these are all lesser known.
They're all worth seeking out.
Yeah.
But by the way, Criterion Channel is a very cool thing.
Criterion Channel is really great. And
by the way, Criterion Channel and TVHi, same platform.
There you go. And Canopy, what else? You don't need to subscribe to anything else.
No, you should say no to all the conglomerates.
Yeah. Anyways, your question was about guilty pleasure. I think I'm not, well, some people might say I'm snobby, I guess, but I'm not, I don't, there's almost no movies that I dislike, really. I mean, I tend to take movies as they are and try to appreciate them for what they're trying to accomplish. So, I go see all the Marvel movies, mostly, less so recently, but, I watch popular movies as well. I'm not like I just think that these are maybe more interesting to talk about.
Yeah, no, for sure. But, and you probably enjoy them a bit more.
I do. And they're more related to my filmmaking as well. But I would say so the guilty pleasure that comes to mind as like the one that I love the most is Miss Congeniality.
There we go.
I love that movie so much. It's like sort of propaganda, and it's very, very silly. Like the gender politics of it are so goofy and weird, but also like I don't know. I would say surprisingly good, but I think that seems a little condescending. It's like it's just like I feel like the industry doesn't really make that many movies like that anymore that are like that light on their feet and fun and just I don't know, maybe those kinds of mid-budget movies are going to come back a little bit more as they realize they need to actually make something other than Marvel movies. But anyways, I love that. And my brother recently told me that was like a movie that when I was a kid I would watch when I was homesick or something. Like it was a DVD that we had that I would just always watch. And my brother recently told me you only like that movie because it came for free with our DVD player. So we had the DVD.
So it's inside the DVD player when you got basically.
Yeah. But I just watched it so much. I just thought, Sandra Bullock is incredible.
I was about to say one thing about Sandra Bullock is
she's so watchable. She's
if you don't like, if there's not an attachment where you're like, I just want to be best friends.
Yeah.
Next time we have a game night, can Sandy come over?
Yes.
She's the world's buddy.
She's the best. Yeah.
And totally just, from the first time anyone, whatever. Yeah. Delightful. Yeah. That's a good night. And not even a guilty pleasure, just, Yeah. But a film that, qualifies as a favorite. Wonderful.
I love it.
All right. All right. Well, the next question is a film you feel is underrated.
Oh God. So this, I don't know what, it's hard for me to tell what qualifies as underrated or like this even goes to the underseen kind of thing or something, because now that with streaming and everything, like it's so easy to get access to all of these things. Like thinking back to when I was a teenager and like we would go to LACMA to see these movies, and there was no other way to see the movies, basically. Like Andrei Tarkovsky movies or whatever you could probably get from the library, but like Hong Sang-soo, for example, there was just like, you wouldn't be able to go see them if they weren't playing in that theater. And now it's like very easy to find all of this stuff. And I don't know, maybe people aren't
maybe not though,
finding
because like now it's like streaming services now finding stuff unless, but then again, if you're willing to pay $4.99, you can probably see anything.
Yeah.
But it's a little, it's the plethora of choices is kind of getting limited again.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
And if you don't, there used to be a killer video store in like one or two neighborhoods, right? Like you go to, in LA, you went to Vidiot's or that one next to the New Art. Yeah, Cinephile. Yeah. But they can't cover all there is to cover now because you can't have vintage, you can't have Korean, you can't have European. I mean,
have you been to the new Vidiot's?
No.
Okay, so just quick tangent. We talked about in the previous podcast about the art house scene in LA. So that's one of the big ones. You have American Cinematheque, which has the theater in Santa Monica, and then also the screen in Los Feliz, and then you have Quentin Tarantino's movie theaters, the New Beverly, and also he just reopened the Vista, which is cool. But Vidiot's opened in Eagle Rock, and they have this beautiful movie theater there. I don't know what it used to be called, but they have a full like old school movie theater and then also a little micro cinema. So they have a second screen kind of, and they have a whole video store, just like the old days. Like you can rent DVDs and VHS and all that stuff.
Wow.
Probably Blu-rays, great popcorn. Anyways, Vidiot's big shout out. Great place for independent cinema in LA and for like repertory screenings and stuff. So, okay, underrated. This is, I don't know. I don't know what's underrated.
It's a subjective term. Miscongeniality is. You could that could have been your underrated.
Like, the other thing I was gonna like mention was this filmmaker Hong Sang-soo, who is also an art house filmmaker and like basically lives off the festival circuit. But you can see his movies a few of them are out there. The one I saw recently was The Novelist film, which is from 2022 or something. It's one of the more recent ones that I thought was really, really cool. But his movies tend to be very character based. They're very simply shot. The Novelist film is in black and white. It's really just about these like sort of funny and weird relationship dynamics. They're very comedic and sort of sometimes a little bit of magical realist. I guess like sometimes the story, like sometimes he'll play a scene like twice with a variation or something. There's sometimes formal experimentation like that, which can be very interesting. But the Novelist film, I think especially filmmakers might be interested in it. But I would also recommend all of his movies. So that's, There
you go. And as usual, and it falls under lesser known people could seek out too.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sorry. I'm cheating.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No. But the funny thing is, because Miscongeniality was I pulled it out of you. That is sure. It's also underrated. Because in theory, underrated. My intention with it.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, people can answer it any way they want. Was a film that just didn't get acknowledged for its quality, even though it was well known at the time. And honestly, that would go for almost the entire Bullock catalog.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Because as consistently wonderful as most of those films were, and sometimes even better. But, like when she gets an Oscar nod, it's for like some horrible high school football thing that.
Well, she doesn't have the. I mean, she's like the same age as Julia Roberts, I think, and just like seen in a totally different category. And I think like they're different types of performers, but I don't know. I would have loved to have seen Sandra Bullock get a more of a mix of types of roles, but maybe that was her own choice as well. So
No, I'm sure her choices were always limited by her gender.
Well, that's sure. That's true. But I bet Julia Roberts was just eating up all the good roles. Right?
Yeah. No, if it was one of, I mean, it was a horror. It'll never be. Well, hopefully someday there'll be equality and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The way Hollywood worked.
Yeah, there could be one. It's the Highlander of casting. Yeah.
Hell, I just read an article that Sherry Manson, the lead singer of Garbage, their record label was like, well, we can only support one band with a female singer, so it's going to be No Doubt, and we're not going to put any money into promoting Garbage's next album. And it's like, really? Even in music, you can only support one woman?
Yeah.
So you're 100% right.
Yeah.
When Disney was making a movie, the rare movie with a female lead, first it was offered to Julia.
Yeah.
And then it was offered to the people you offer it to after Julia passes.
Right. Yeah.
Just like, I mean, I used to always joke that, like, whatever. I used to make fun of actors for like, oh, well, the name of that film should be Tom Cruise Pass.
Yeah.
And, it fell to whatever.
Yeah,
Whether it was McConaughey or Charlie Sheen, I don't even know.
Right.
I can't even remember who the joke was about.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy your answer for the third question.
Okay, yeah.
Overrated.
So this is hard because, like I just said, I usually like movies.
All right, I'm going to give you my pitch though. Then.
Okay, yeah.
You're not saying it's a bad film.
Okay.
You're saying that the awards and/or acclaim.
Oh yeah.
Were misplaced.
Okay.
But it could be a film you think is excellent.
Yeah. I'm just gonna shoot for the king and go for The Godfather.
Good one.
I have kind of have really had a hard time with Francis Ford Coppola's movies in general. I am very excited for Megalopolis, but I feel like both Apocalypse Now and the Godfather movies are sort of unwieldy in a way that makes it hard for me to get a grasp, I guess, somehow. It's like a thematic grasp. I just often feel like I'm a little bit swimming in them in a way that's not the most fun for me. So they're very well made, obviously. I mean, I think there's some imagery
they're excellent.
that's
they're wonderfully made. But
yeah, and I'll go for a little spicy recent take. And actually, I thought of another underrated movie as well. But then we'll be talking here for 20 more hours. But in the same vein, I recently saw Alex Garland's new movie Civil War. I don't know if you have heard about it.
I've just heard about it. Yeah.
And it's funny because there's like all this controversy about the politics of it because it's obviously about the U.S. falling into civil war. So everyone, is kind of like, what the hell is going on here with this movie? And it's about war journalists. It's kind of like there's some ambiguous ethics in it. That's sort of part of the point. But I was just like, it's not even that it's politically offensive. It's just not very well made. It's just like, and it felt people are making the comparison to Apocalypse Now. And I'm like, it does have similar problems for me, I think, where it's just like it's just like a little bit, the cinematic language of it is a little incoherent. Like the camera's doing different things at different times in a way that just doesn't quite feel cohesive. And I don't know. The performances are very good, but that's not everything.
It's not everything.
Yeah.
No, I have your back on all this, and I'll add that I actually do like the first Godfather. I think the second one is really not great. I've had people tell me, "Oh, Godfather 2 is the first." Like there's a few people who say it's better than the first. It's the best sequel ever. The only sequel. I'm like, no, come on. It's kind of inane. But anyway, I got your back.
I agree that I do. I like the first one more, but because it is more contained. I mean, I think the parallel storylines is a little bit much, but
I'll never forgive them for having Michael Corleone be the only guy. Apparently, he was the only guy smart enough to know that Castro would win in Cuba.
Right, yeah.
Maybe whatever. I find the whole thing annoying and dumb. But anyway.
I am immediately having regret that I didn't pronounce it the way Issa Rae pronounces it in Barbie when she says Godfather. Tell me what happens in Godfather. Anyway, sorry.
I love it. I love it.
But this is why I always say that Sofia Coppola is the superior Coppola.
Because it's not too hard to jump.
Also, yeah. I mean,
although interestingly, we could have a fun discussion about, because you mentioned the Reitmans, but I'm not sure there's any second generation filmmakers who are any who I really appreciate.
So you're not a Sophia fan?
Some of it,
because
actually, Virgin Suicides for me might be her peak, and that was first.
Yeah. I do like some of Jason Reitman's movies. I kind of, and I actually like Ivan Reitman's daughter. She has a TV show.
Yeah, she's good.
That's pretty
and
funny.
she was on Always Sunny.
Yeah.
But like Reitman, Lawrence Kasdan's kid.
Oh, yeah.
John Landis's kid. Well, I don't know. His kid got burned.
That's a whole other. That's a whole other thing. Also, the Euphoria guy.
Is that another?
Yeah.
Nepo, whatever. I know people. Yeah. I know it's a put down term. But.
To me, the thing with Nepo babies is that there's all sorts of industries where people do the thing that their parents did, and that doesn't
farming.
Yeah, that doesn't really bother me if somebody's parents are an actor and they become an actor. I think the Nepo baby problem is when their parents are studio executives.
I was going to say I'm going to disagree. Well, I'm going to say my problem is when they say my parents didn't help me make it. It's all based on my own talent and on my own work.
That's also silly, yeah.
But somebody, and I forget who it is now, but somebody recently, somebody whose parents were famous. I can't remember who it was, but it was an actress, and she said, "No, of course my parents helped get me where I am. Like, I if I've been born to a cashier at Target in the Midwest, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. I
had to work really hard.
Yeah.
But, let's be honest. I remember reading how, what's her name? Kate Hudson was like, well, I was trying to decide, should I go to college or should I act? And I just figured, well, I'll try acting for a little bit, but I made it all on my own. And it's like, no, you didn't. Like that first meeting, they were like, oh, let's meet with Goldie Hawn's daughter. And let's just, the idea that you got in based on talent, not based on who your parents were.
Yeah. But successful rich people are always delusional, I think. Yes. So, even the ones that did, quote unquote, do it themselves or whatever. Also, people are usually lying about that regardless.
As our I was going to get political now and bring up, the people who own car companies and live off of government subsidies and things, and the fact that taxes pay for roads and things for the cars to be on,
and then don't want to give raises to their employees. Yeah.
Well, and also like I'm completely successful myself. It's like we have an entire infrastructure to create successful companies. Yeah. And you should be grateful to have been born here where you had all these advantages. Yeah. And instead of being like, it was all me. Right. And now I'm going to try to hide the money all I can. Yeah. Because, when you do have $40 billion, if you get knocked down to $38 billion, like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. That's the end of the road.
I'm pretty sure it wouldn't affect your life.
Yeah. Definitely not.
And I'm pretty sure you should be grateful to have lived in a world where there are roads and things.
So I think all that is true. And I mean, what you're saying about roads, definitely, but also what you're saying about people acting like they didn't have it handed to them or whatever. Because I feel like even us as Angelinos, like, we're doing what we're doing because we were lucky enough to be born or grow up here. It's like just being around something is enough to make it easier to do it.
Well, you studied the Middle East and you went to Jordan.
Yeah.
I've been to parts of the world as well where anybody born in that part of the world, they could have a mind that exceeds some of the geniuses. Instead of naming one of the evil geniuses, I'll name a genius that I love, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay.
Love him. But if he were born, in rural Thailand where I've been, he would be farming in rural Thailand. Like that mind would not be an astrophysicist with several degrees and really inspiring a world.
Oh, it might be, but it would be way less likely. I mean, it's just like it's the degree of likelihood. It's like, I'm sure that Kate Hudson did have to do some work. I mean, I'm sure she
had to be good.
She had
to be good.
She's not it's not for no reason, but it is also like, it's just way easier. It's the whole thing. But also like
if her genetic twin were born in Idaho and moved to LA after finishing high school, not one casting agent would have met with that person.
Yeah.
Whereas Goldie Hawn's daughter got cast, I think it was 200 cigarettes, like right on. Like, you can, of course. But we can tell people maybe Goldie will help us.
Right. But the other thing is like, this is what I meant by that doesn't bother me as much, is that like when I see the new Knives Out movie and Kate Hudson is there and she's like, there's a part of it where it's like, I just watched a Goldie Hawn movie and there's like something there, and like I recently watched Marnie, the Hitchcock movie, and it's like, this actress is like giving me a little bit Dakota Johnson, and it's because it's her grandma, you know what I mean? And it's like there is something fun, or like watching Tony Curtis movies and seeing Jamie Lee Curtis, and there's just like those lineages I think are entertaining, which is also the point. Right.
There is a connection for sure.
And I think, and also maybe there's some, passing down the how to do it kind of trade.
There's
a trade element of it. But I mean, it's, if a studio executive's kid is getting a meeting with a casting agent, then that is much stupider to me than Goldie Hawn.
I can name actors I think suck who are famous and wealthy, and it is because their parents were actually worked in casting.
There you go.
If your parent is a casting agent and they want to help pay for a holiday trip, they're going to cast you in Hollywood movies as a kid, and then people recognize your face, blah, blah, blah. All right.
So anyways.
It's a lot of bitterness. I apologize for my level of bitterness.
Well, Sofia Coppola's movie Priscilla, another underrated thing, and it also has Kaylee Spaney, who's an amazing actress who was in Civil War, which I just ragged
Priscilla
on.
has that incredibly beautiful human. That guy.
Jacob Elordi.
Yes.
Amazing.
I can never remember his name.
He's really good, yeah.
But I
in Saltburn. We were talking about Saltburn before.
But I could just watch him.
Yeah.
I could just watch him.
He's great.
If he just sat down and read the newspaper, if there were newspapers.
Yeah.
I need him. If he were sitting in Starbucks just flipping through his phone.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a scene in Priscilla where he's reading newspapers, so you should check it out.
I've been told I would like Priscilla.
Yeah. I feel like that one was a little underrated maybe this last year.
I think it slipped under the radar.
Yeah.
No Bill Murray. She needs Bill Murray to get her Oscars.
I guess so.
I don't know. That's a toughie.
Yeah.
Another toughie. Yeah. Another complicated situation.
Yeah.
Turns out there's not many good humans over 50. I don't know. I'll be quiet because I'm over 50. Should we do the last one? The lesser known to seek out? Or you've named a whole bunch of movies to seek out.
I could.
I'm like pre-interrupting you. I'm preempting you. I'm saying you've already named all these movies that people should seek out.
There were so many. Now I'm feeling like I have more ideas for more underrated movies, but I've
I want to hear more overrated.
More overrated. Oh my gosh!
Kidding.
I don't know if I could think of more. I'm kidding.
No, it's.
I mean, this. We could talk more about
maybe
Marvel
the whole
movies.
Star Wars thing.
Those were important when I was a kid, but
the first one's a good movie.
What's going on? You know what was good was Andor. That was kind of interesting. That
I
series.
have still not been able to watch it, but I do think Rebel won.
Is it Tony Gilroy? Is that his name?
I can't remember.
I think he's the writer who's worked on Rogue One.
Did I just Rogue
Andor.
One? Thank you. I said Rebel. I thought Rogue One might be the best thing in the entire canon.
Yeah.
Except I really love the very, very first.
Yeah.
The film called Star Wars.
Yeah.
I remove A New Hope. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I was 9 years old, I saw Star Wars in the theaters.
Yeah.
And it was perfect.
Nice. Yeah.
And everything since then has been shouldn't have happened.
You're a purist, yeah.
I'm a purist.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a purist.
They're fun. I don't know. Just the whole franchise thing in Hollywood is getting a little bit boring. I think that's the crime that it's really guilty of. Is that it's just,
and that the IP has to be squozen like a dish rag until the last drop. And then after the last drop, somehow they keep squeezing.
And it sucks up so much of the energy from the mainstream industry where like mid-budget movies, you know, maybe they're going away anyways, but they're getting more the talent. Everyone, like all the actors are in these contracts. It's like, it's just
and it
silly.
actually kind of destroyed the star system.
Totally.
Because now, like,
I think there's a comeback on the way.
There might be a comeback where
I watched the new Dune movie. Have you seen it? The Dune 2?
Not yet. I'm dying to.
It's it's just the Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Austin Butler, Florence Pugh. You have like all these young actors who are like really commanding screen presences. I just was like, after I saw that, I was like, maybe there's something.
I should drop it, but I'm talking about the fact that like there used to be a time when like I would tell everyone who was a writer, well, who wanted to be commercially successful, I'm like, well, you should write a Tom Cruise movie.
Totally,
because you have to write a star vehicle.
Yeah.
And I think like Timothée Chalamet in a star vehicle that of a unknown property is actually probably going to be an art house film. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to.
I see. Well, that's because of the mid-budget thing. It's gone. It either has to be Dune or.
Now, whereas it used to be if it had Tom Cruise or
Cruise
the
could do
secondary
Collateral.
people.
Yeah. Yes.
Tom Cruise, Harrison Ford, Will Smith, blah, blah, blah. Once Hollywood knew that they had attached that name, then they knew they could spend $200 million on the movie.
Right.
And people would buy tickets.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you sell tickets with actors anymore.
Well, that's what I feel like it might change.
I hope
soon.
so.
I don't know. It seems like this Jacob Elordi is another one where it's like I feel like some of these people are close to being able to sell a movie. I mean, Timothée Chalamet, he might have sold Wonka on his name, right? And that did pretty well. I don't know if people are really going to see Wonka because of Wonka.
But I mean, you are naming like Dune and Wonka like two of huge beloved properties. That's actually IP.
But that's how you make movie stars, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe not.
Well, I guess I'm defining a movie star as someone that you don't need original IP for.
Right. But you need to build up to something.
You can just put them in a freaking movie and people go see it because they're like, oh, go see everything with that person in.
Right. But I mean.
Like I used to want to see everything Sandra Bullock was in. Everything.
Right.
I don't care if it's in space. I don't care if it's.
Yeah.
I don't care if she's an FBI agent at a beauty pageant. I don't care if she's falling in love with Ryan Reynolds. God, who knew he'd become a star? But like. I don't know if that's a good or a bad.
So go back to overrated or no?
But those films that he produces are halfway.
No, he sometimes does. Okay
I like
stuff.
the Free Guy one.
Oh, really? I didn't see it. I heard bad things.
And then the
I was
last
like, no,
one with the daddy issues, where somehow Mark Ruffalo played his dad, and it was like
Mark Ruffalo played
his dad in the time travel movie he did. That was
okay.
halfway decent, and it was like
that's a weird casting.
I'm like. How'd you end up a foot taller than your dad? But whatever.
Yeah, and also like your dad is Italian and you're like the least Italian looking. The most Anglo-Saxon person that's ever walked there. Yeah.
True, man. I didn't think about that. I was just like stuck on the.
I love Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, speaking of which,
that's
so good. Yeah,
and he's like the one, right? He's the movie star who does the occasional smaller thing, whether it's He did an amazing film indie thing with Keira Knightley that I love, where he plays a music executive.
Yeah, I don't know that.
I should know the name of it because I only saw it because I was trapped in a cruise ship cabin and it was on the TV.
Go. That's the best way to.
I'm like, this is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It was actually a wonderful film. I should look it up. All right. I think we're good.
Yeah, I think so. How many hours was that?
That was only 39 minutes.
Okay, good.
And only because I fucked it up. You could have stopped 10 minutes ago. We could have stopped around 20, but I went in and asked shit like guilty pleasure and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm glad we got Miss Congeniality out there. That was on my list, but I was... It's a great movie. Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
It makes me realize that she really is. By the way, I'll add in this guilty pleasure. I don't think anyone should snooze on any of the Oceans movies, especially hers, Ocean's 8.
Yeah, that was very good. And also the Julie Roberts
all women's Ocean movie. It was outstanding, and I think she is the counterpart to George Clooney. She absolutely can carry a film like that.
That is
with all the charm.
Yeah.
And the charm, the looks, the everything, the charisma. It's all there.
That's actually, George Clooney is a good cop because I feel like what Sandra Bullock needs is the Coen brothers equivalent. Like the movies that George Clooney did with the Coen brothers. She needs a little bit of that. You know what I mean?
How come they never asked her in, man? They should have.
I don't know. It's not too late.
They're always using Frances because she's married to one of them.
Yeah.
Not that she isn't the greatest actor alive.
Yeah.
I mean, she's as good as anyone.
Yeah.
Ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Like
she's the best.
Meryl Streep level.
Yeah. Frances McDormand level.
Frances McDormand level. Oh, she's so good.
She's great.
Everything.
That Macbeth movie that Joel Coen made, did you see that?
No.
Denzel plays Macbeth, and she plays Lady Macbeth, Frances McDormand. And, oh, my God, they're incredible. Also, visually amazing movie as well. Very, it's a straight Macbeth adaptation, so I understand why, it didn't do well, maybe, but but
I know you got to put Shakespeare in a high school. I know that's how you make money.
Yeah, but
the Coen brothers would not do that. Oh, that was just one, right? That was just
their and then the other one did
was
Driveway
just Joel
Dolls.
without Ethan.
Yeah. So
there was a hilarious fake news article written about like Ethan reviewed Hamlet and said like, the untalented brother has made a film, something like that. And everyone thought it was real, but it was actually someone, it was like The Onion or something.
Yeah. That's funny.
All right.
Okay. This was a pleasure.
I will wrap us up by saying, Rene, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And now I will ramble off. If you want to watch Rene's film Donut, and you definitely should, then no wonder your film was so good. Look at your references. They're all like, you're watching quality shit, you know? I feel like, what an artist takes in affects what comes out. And, if someone's main love is, if they're just all about the Star Wars movies and the Marvel movies, what are they going to make?
Yeah.
They're going to make whatever. I'll shut up. This is the Discover Indie Film Podcast. Review it, rate it, subscribe to it, be nice, be kind. Go to discoverindiefilm.com to learn more. At DIF Wins on social media. And go to Amazon Prime Video and type in Discover Indie Film. And you know what? Amazon, we got up to like 10,000 viewers a week watching that series. And then they kicked us from included with Prime to having to charge 99 cents an episode or $7.99 a season. But you're spending $8 to watch like 25 fantastic short films that people generally made out of their back pocket. So support indie film. Watch Discover Indie Film. All right. Rene's film Donut won awards at Film Invasion Los Angeles. We hold it every June. Learn more at filminvasionla.com, and it's at Film Invasion LA on social media. Its sister festival, Sherman Oaks Film Festival, hath grown a little bigger. It's every December. You can learn more at ShermanOaksFF.com, and it's at ShermanOaksFF on social media. And yeah, go to Watch TV Hi. Subscribe to Watch TV Hi. Be kind. I'm told by other people that I should tout that it's socialist. It's actually socialist. 50% of gross receipts are shared evenly among all the creatives. Doesn't matter if you have a 3-minute film or a 4-hour film. Doesn't matter if your film is watched 1,700 times or 0 times. You share equally in the revenue because everyone contributes to the success of that streaming channel. So, all right. I guess I'm going to stop talking. Rene, thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone should watch Donut and enjoy it. And thank you, everyone, for listening.